Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
It's for my people that don't get to see me. Trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me. Trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching. Hey, 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 hey. Motivation.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
I miss all my friends in school.
Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccine.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show. All right, hello and welcome to the ONG Strike Zone live here. Brian Fulford, and joining me is Marcus Green, filling in for Kelvin Rozier, who's a little under the weather today, and soon to be joining us will be Kofi Hemingway as well, who's dealing with a few things, trying to get his night started for as it relates to us. But we bring in Marcus. Marcus, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm no Kelvin. I'll do my best, but I'm doing good today.
Hey, man, you are the I hate to make it. Look, you're a part of this team. You're a part of this. It's no longer just the triumvirate. It's like the I don't know what good analogy I could come up with. A good 4-man band. So, you just come up with a good name, and that's who we are, and you make up that fourth person. As of course, you do have the distinction of being the first quote unquote guest at that time to join the show. When I went back and looked at the logs, you were that first person to come join us, and then you decided to stick around. So, man, I'm forever grateful to you for that. We got a lot of stuff going on today with the show. So want to thank everybody for watching and tuning in. Now, hopefully, Rattler Nation, that you got a 2-screen setup going on, because as we found out, breaking news earlier this afternoon, the National Alumni Association decided to have a town. I love the coordination and the timing. Better that it happened than me being bitch and complain about the timing, right? So I'm not going to do that on this. I'll just say I'm glad it's happening. But they are having a town hall meeting with Dr. Robinson. So now hey, look, folks, that could be where Kofi is. I'll be honest, because that could be where he is. No, that is not. Kelvin is legitimately under the weather. So he's not, although, we didn't put him on assignment to go cover that. But let's just say it's recommended that you be on 2 screens. And so we're interested, and with bated breath, we will be waiting to see how Dr. Robinson addresses the good and bad of this week, Marcus, because it definitely has been an up and down week in terms of good news, WTF news. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's just like, I just better categorize it as the WTF news. So before we get into that, I want to remind everybody who's watching us on Facebook and on YouTube to go ahead and make sure that you hit the like button and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're watching us on wherever you're watching us at, Facebook or on YouTube. Make sure you've gone ahead and done so, and subscribe to the Jericho Broadcast Networks or the Black College Sports Network or the ONG on Facebook and even on Twitter. Wherever you're watching us, make sure you go ahead, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at O&G Strike Zone is where we're at. Download the Jericho Broadcast Networks app on your Google or Apple Play Store. Just search My JBN, My BCSN, and you'll find it. You can catch all of the shows. Again, want to thank everybody for the comments and for watching our nearly 6 hours of coverage at SWAC Media Day last week. And Marcus, I tell you, I am still recovering from that SWAC Media Day. So, and it looks like we got Kofi in the house. Kofi, good to see you. How you doing, my man?
Hey, my brother, how are you?
Man, we're blessed. Looking good, doing good. How are you in good spirits? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. You know, it's been one of those days, weeks, etc. So we're good.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that totally. So, as I was telling people, we got a lot going on around us as it relates to FAMU. We got a lot to talk about as we are officially 31 days before the start of the season, week 0 on August 29th against North Carolina in Chapel Hill. 31 days. Camp opens in 2 days for the fellas. So, there's a lot to talk about. And then, of course, the National Alumni Association having their town hall meeting with Dr. Robinson now. No confirmation that Dr. Robinson requested this time slot to try to take away some viewership. But
Now, I think he requested it so Kofi wouldn't ask any questions.
Yeah, that's what it is right there.
We know he'll be busy. We know he'll be busy at 8:00, so we'll go ahead and do it at that time. So yeah, that sounds real good. Hey, want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat rooms already loaded up. A lot of people already tuned in, watching. Man, appreciate all you folks in there. Of course, Tamara T, first one in the building. T-Dos, we're gonna talk about, maybe not on this show, but if I ever, as I said on another show, if there's ever a time when I'm rooting for the Wildcats, it's October 15th, and I'm hunting down more information regarding that game against Jackson State. We'll talk more about that another time. Mary 305, Maureen Wilson Howard, Melissa Wilson, Dr. Lori's the moderator. We'll be talking with Dr. Lori in a little feature will coming up at the bottom of the hour. We've got a couple of alumni that we're going to be spotlighting. We may try to do this in season 2. We may try to do an alumni business spotlight kind of thing. So we've got Dr. Lori coming on talking to us, and then we have Mike RoadDog Reid talking to us as well at the bottom of the hour. Of course, as we mentioned last week, Dr. Lori's got her book signing and her book going on sale next month, and of course, Mike Reid with the travel packages and everything like that. So gives us a chance, and 2 very active alums. So that what a great time to kind of talk with them. But guys, let's get into talking about the SWAC Media Day, which from last week, there were over 200 media members at this event. And, hopefully you guys have been able to see from the various media coverage that was there. Everyone, besides the Black College Sports Network, Roland Martin showed up. You had quite a few of the regulars from the HBCU media landscape, from Game Day, HBCU Sports, Black College Experience was there, Legends, HBCU Legends was there. So, I mean, a lot of familiar faces was in the building. What are your impressions, or maybe, before we get into more specifics, general impressions from SWAC Media Day, Marcus, and then I'll come over to you, Kofi.
I thought it went pretty well. It seems like all the excitement carried over, and just to see all the outlets that were publishing their content, requesting interviews, and just the general excitement of it based on everything that happened last year from Coach Prime, from FAMU, and then all the offseason, the basic transfer portal blitz. You had a lot of people interested for many different reasons. Of course, our outlets want to get it out to our people, but then you have non-traditional outlets having coverage there because of Coach Prime, because of the excitement, because of everything that's going on with the SWAC, and there's nothing but positive. So I loved it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kofi? What are some of your takeaways from SWAC Media Day?
They ain't have my boy Scotty up in there. And that's what. Let me just but for real. Other than that,
well, he was off covering the SEC, so I guess he didn't have time.
Yeah, he was doing some big things. He was doing some big things, but let me just say, I think that the SWAC Media Day is growing. I'm grateful for someone like a Deion Sanders that's bringing awareness to HBCU football in a positive way. We would not have had that measure of coverage without him. And I want to say, I'm really excited about the season and what is to come. I think if we can take this moment and really begin to capitalize on the outstanding coverage that we're getting, the interest level that we're getting, I think that the sky's definitely the limits. This year, we got to see some wins, though, with our interconference play. And I think that once we do that, it's going to be on and popping. I think that that's going to send a message really to the rest of the entire world that the SWAC is here to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you think about the SWAC now, you have a league that has 4 coaches with NFL background, coming from just 1 year where you had Coach Prime. Now you move into a year where you have Eddie Robinson Jr., you have Hugh Jackson, and you have Bubba McDowell. And, listening and coming away and talking to those guys, there is, and I think those were, and then those guys really bring a level of confidence and coolness to the SWAC that I think it's hard to say if this is. Look, we'll give credit to Coach Prime. We'll give credit to Coach Prime. Who knows? I think the SWAC was in an upward trajectory even prior to him coming on board. I think it just elevated. And some of the things that I liked hearing was in talking to the commissioner is hearing things about the type of revenue payouts that schools received. If you go back and think about, for example, if you go back to when during the, I think this was early June, if you go back to the budgets and the athletic department's presentation to the Board of Trustees, they only estimated, and Kelvin, I know Kelvin's in our chat room, so maybe you can hit me with the actual number that they estimated. I know they only estimated less than 100,000, or right about 100,000 in terms of contribution from the SWAC. Well, then we learned that no team from this past season will receive less than, I think there was about 750,000. Or actually it may have been 500,000. But I really think the number was more like 750 from what I heard, which is outstanding. And Dr. McClellan said it puts the SWAC as, I think, the number 3 in terms of distribution. Now, the SWAC does incentive programs where, based on your academic, athletic performances on the field, some of the incentives that you get for going to the take home from the SWAC championship game, from the Celebration Bowl, all of those things go into a school's pocket. For example, Jackson State pulled in $3.2 million. So when you talk about how important this season is for FAMU, getting to a SWAC championship, hosting a SWAC championship possibly, and even getting to the Celebration Bowl, that is a financial windfall like none other that we've experienced. I mean, that's an opportunity to bring home a couple of $1 million. So the opportunity and so the opportunities there. That's some of the things that I loved hearing from Dr. McClellan, and it's only going to get bigger. So the amount of monies that schools are going to receive is only going to get better. Let's go to some of the predicted order finish here, in case you missed it. Now, I don't know if you guys caught this. On our show last week, we all predicted FAMU to win the East. I think I was the only person who had Alcorn winning the West. The rest of you guys picked Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, on one side of the bracket, on one side, actually, on the Western side, that was sort of the script that a lot of people went with. In actuality, the predicted order of finish, according to the conference ADs and coaches, they predicted Southern to win the West with 111 points and 11 first place votes. Alcorn State only finished in second by 1 point. They had 5 first place votes. Prairie View, which was really a surprise to a lot of people that we talked, especially a lot of the media members, they finished in third, but they received 5 first place votes. That shocked a lot of people. Grambling,
I don't think it should shock people, though. It shouldn't shock people.
Why?
Because they made it to the SWAC championship game last year.
Different coach.
They've got a number of strong returning people players that are coming back on defense. A lot of skill position coming back on offense. And again, they could run the ball. They really were in the championship game. They were in position to win that game. But they gave up a raggedy kickoff return for a touchdown, and they gave an interception, a pick six for a touchdown. And they missed their opportunities to score when they had the opportunities to do so. But it was there for the taking. I just think that, by and large, I think some of what they had with the game plan was a little bit flawed. But they were right there to take that game. They made the mistakes that South Carolina State did not make.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because that was a thought of some people that, the fact that Southern, with Eric Dooley going over to Southern, finishing in first, are people picking Southern because of Dooley, and are the people picking Prairie View A&M because Dooley left? That was one of those side points that people were talking about.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the fact that Southern, Dooley is at Southern, but they picked up a lot of talent.
Yes. Yes.
They picked up a ton of talent from a team that's another team that should have beaten Jackson State. They were in the ball game against us till the last 8 minutes of the game.
I don't know. They weren't in that ball game. They weren't in that ball game with us.
They were
whooping us at first. They were whooping us at first.
They were ahead, and then we took the lead at halftime, and then they didn't really cross midfield in the second half. But their defense, what was it, like 8 plays for us to score a touchdown?
Yeah, it took us like 8 plays to get 1 touchdown.
That was play. I thought that was play calling. I never thought Southern was really. Yes, they had a couple of good drives, but I didn't think Southern was in that. I didn't have any fear of Southern in that game against us.
Let me say this: they obviously, for me, if you let an interim coach beat you, home or away, you need to be beat, especially with the squad that we had. But it's a rivalry game, and Southern always has talent. They've upgraded the talent. They have a legitimate head coach who will be responsible for making in-game decisions. And again, they were a play away from beating Jackson State. Like, they had that game, hands down, they had that game. And they should have won that game. Now, Prairie View kicked them to sleep. Prairie View kicked them to sleep for their homecoming, but that homecoming game is always a doozy. especially when you have a big homecoming and your football players get distracted and you have an inexperienced head coach, which is what Southern had last year. They will not have that issue this year.
Okay.
Plus, you got to add
yeah.
the dueling factor. I mean, it may not be the only reason to take them over the top, but you got to add an experienced coach, the historical, I guess the historic history of Southern always being in there in the hunt, having a good team, and then you add an experienced coach coming over from a team that just went to the championship game last year. You know, I mean, that's pretty much why I picked them, based on their talent acquisition, the new coach coming over, and having had a championship experience, and just the fact that last year was kind of a down year for Southern. I mean, it wasn't.
They lost their coach mid-spring.
Yeah.
Look, here's what's interesting about the West, and talking to the people who cover, Southern, Alcorn, Prairie View, none of them felt confident. Like, if they had a vote, I don't think they would have voted their team with one of those first place votes. I mean, the talking to Carlos Brown, he was a little apprehensive that Southern was predicted first. Charles Edmond of Alcorn State, without knowing the quarterback, quite knowing what the quarterback situation is going to look like at Alcorn, that's the unsure factor for Alcorn. And in Prairie View, Mike Washington, he covers Prairie View. He too surprised at the 5 first place votes. So I think the West is wide open with respect to those 4 teams. And then the fact that the team that a lot of people love, Texas Southern, was picked last. I mean, there were a couple people from our crew that picked Texas Southern as high as, I think, maybe 3rd. So look, I had Texas. I've got Texas Southern finishing 4-4. Well, it's crazy. You think it's crazy? Really? That they were the youngest team last year. I think they had the most freshmen. They were the youngest team in college.
I think your
which
pick
one?
was on point.
Oh, Alcorn?
No. Texas Southern.
Texas Southern. Okay.
Yeah. Texas Southern could sneak and win the West. I don't think they'll do it, but they could.
Yeah. I don't think this is quite the year. I think for Texas Southern, if they can finish at 500 on the season, I think that would be a plus for the program. And the question is, who are they going to catch? Like last year where they had a lead going into the 4th quarter against Jackson State. Can they finish the deal? You know what I'm saying? That's what teams are looking for, from Texas Southern this year, and how big of a leap is Andrew Body going to make for that team. So
if he makes the leap, Andrew Body makes the leap, if he makes the leap, it's over. Because he was lights out last year as a freshman. He beat Southern as a freshman.
Yeah.
If he makes the leap, it's over.
Hey, look, quarterback play in the SWAC, and this is the year after Aquil. Aquil was such a unicorn. I think now you really have several play callers which could have some really dynamic seasons. Again, I think the true test will be what we see early in September, especially in the non-conference games. Some of these schools have some very interesting non-conference matchups, and I think that's where, the separation and the confidence will come. For example, I'll bring it home for FAMU. We want to see Rashawn McKay look good against UNC. We want to see him look good to open the game against Jackson State. We want him to look good against Albany State. Those are going to be 3 tough defenses, and we want to see him do well. And I think if he does look well, that will, be a positive sign. We'll have a couple of wins, maybe even 3 wins. Who knows? But that'll be a positive sign going forward for FAMU. Let me jump over to the east side. Real quick. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this. among the 9 people in the BCSN family that were there, I was literally the lone wolf. I mean, like, oh, the lone wolf that picked
Lone Rattler.
FAMU. The lone rattler, the lone wolf, whatever. Everybody, even my fellow alum, our fellow alum, AD Drew, picked Jackson State. And I told him I'm going to give him hell for that. Everybody picked Jackson State. Now, look, I get it, but when you look at even the SWAC media, SWAC coaches, they pick 12 first-place votes, Jackson State in first, FAMU comes in second with 7 first-place votes, Alabama A&M third with 2, Alabama State with 1, Bethune-Cookman comes in fourth, Valley comes in sixth. Guys, how crazy am I? How crazy are they? Now, I know, of course, you guys like me, we pick FAMU, but are you surprised that nobody picked
No, because
FAMU?
they don't trust McKay. They think that McKay is they don't know what we have in Musa. But they can go, I mean, in terms of quarterback play, that's what largely determines your championship pedigree. Shador showed a lot last year going into his second year, but hey, pick Jackson State, please. Continue to pick Jackson State. Put money on Jackson State, please.
I'm surprised, Brian.
Put money on Jackson State. Yeah. Go to put
I'm
money
surprised that you were the only one. I thought there would have been a couple.
Right.
I can understand. I can understand the logic. And when you look at, I guess what is it? Stereotypically, the preseason picks kind of follow the way things ended the previous season. Now I know in the SWAC West it doesn't match up, but the SWAC West coach switched.
The coaching vote. Yeah, they were like all 4. Did all 4 of them change? Yeah, all 4 of the top changed. Grambling, Southern, Prairie View, except for Alcorn. Alcorn was the only one of the 4 who didn't have a new coach.
Yeah, and so like the winning championship coach last year switched teams in the conference or in the division, and now his team got preseason number 1. But you look at the East. I was looking at it. It's like, okay, FAMU and Jackson State and Valley. Well, maybe not even Valley, but at least FAMU and Jackson State are returning starters from last year. Everybody else looks like to be breaking in new QBs. So that could also have an impact on how they voted them out. They got some transfers coming in, but you never know what you're going to get with the transfer. And you've got returning starters for the top 2 teams in the East. You've got the backfill for Akil coming to Alabama A&M. You got Alabama State. I think they got the transfer from Auburn, who was the quarterback for Galena North Shore a couple of years ago. Was like a 9th or 10th grader and won them a state title. So he's got talent. Bethune, I'm not sure who they have a quarterback. I know they're returning at least one guy, but I think they have a transfer. And Valley,
they have 2 transfers.
2 transfers. And Valley got the number 1 JUCO QB, but I don't know if they're returning the guy from last year or if he left, but they have Caleb Johnson at running back. But you look at the top 2 teams in terms for the East, that's pretty much a no-brainer. You just kind of flip a coin and see which one you like is coming out of the East.
Yeah, well, look, I'll be that lone wolf.
You held it down. You held it down.
I appreciate it. We 330 something days. It's almost coming to an end, fellas. 330 something days we've had to listen to Jackson State rub that game into our face. So it's coming to an end. The days are getting shorter. The nights are getting longer. And look, we're almost there. So let's get ready to take a break. In the next segment, we'll come back to talking about the SWAC, and we'll mention some of the preseason awards, the several Rattlers who ended up on some of the honorees or recognized on the preseason teams. But we're going to pivot to alumni spotlights coming up. On the other half, we're going to talk to Dr. Lori Wilson, and then we're going to also talk to Mike RoadDog Reid. We'll talk to them coming up here on the other side. You're watching OG Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you ready? It's time. The inaugural Urban NerdCon is coming to Montgomery, Alabama, July 29th through the 31st. Blurs, nerds, and geeks from across the universe will converge on the capital city to see celebrity guests such as The Last Dragon, Tymok, Megan Tandy, and voice actor Dave Fennoy.
Hey, how you doing? I'm voice actor Dave Fennoy with a shout out to all my geeks, freaks, and urban nerds. Just want to let you know I'm going to be there and I want to meet you at the Urban NerdCon Gaming and Cosplay event. It's happening July 29th through the 31st in Montgomery, Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm. Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kofi, Marcus Green, somewhere in the mix. Not sure where he's at, but we'll find him. And it's a pleasure right now to be joined by our moderator in the – look, you become known as the moderator, Doc. Dr. Lori Wilson, who also is our moderator in the chat room. So – this might be the segment where some of y'all might get a little wild right now because you can't do everything. You can't talk to us and manage the chat room. So, hey, Doc, thanks for coming on to O&G. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Cool.
Hey, so look, you know, again, we appreciate you just contributing and being a part of the show or wanting to be a part of the show. And then, of course, you hit me up and told me about your book and everything. So I want to before we get into talking about that, let's get a background. Let's let people know when you were at FAMU, how you got to FAMU, why FAMU.
Wow. Okay. So I went to FAMU when I was 17 years old. I actually from Marianna, Florida. And I was in a high school that was predominantly white. So it was my first choice to want to go to FAM. I don't even think I even applied to another school. So I actually went to FAMU in 1983. I want to tell my age, but hey, 1983, and it was one of the best decisions that I could have made in my entire life because I was able to see more progressive Black people who were striving to in their craft, and I had never seen that before. My father was military, and we lived in various areas, and we was predominantly white people, and I never saw Black people that were so intelligent, were so progressive, and FAMU provided that for me. So actually it molded me because, like I said, I was 17, right? I went away to college at 17. So that's what FAMU did for me, and actually allowed me to develop the skills and the proudness of being Black.
You know what? Growing up a Midwest kid, I can totally relate to that. You know, I can understand where you come from with that. So you remember the set when you used to be able to drive through the set.
Of course.
Look, see,
of course, we used to put our setology in time in. You know.
Hold on, we lost you. Okay.
No, she's back.
Our setology is time in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. Yes. We got you.
Okay. I'm sorry. One of my colleagues trying to call me at the wrong time. I'll call her tonight. But yeah, I know about the set because when I was 83, 88, I was a 5-year FAMU student because I was pre-med. And so I did my time on the set, you know, spent my time putting in those hours. And I mean, the set used to be off the chain back in the day. I mean, we used to do a party. We had a good time. So yeah.
That's what we hear. I think the first year I got there was the first year they had closed it down. So I mean, you know, it'll never be like the old days.
You missed it, Brian.
That's what I hear. I hear. Look, that's what y'all, because that's one of the things all y'all old heads always talk about. They're like, man, the set back in the day, boy.
So we had fun back in the day.
So after FAMU, tell us about your professional career and where you're at now. Because you are in Montgomery right now.
Yeah.
So tell us how you got there.
You know, Brian, I was just thinking today about some of the questions, and I'm like, oh my God, I've been practicing dentistry for like 22 years. So it has been a long haul, long journey. And when I was at FAMU, I always was focused on what I needed to do. And I knew that I wanted to go to medical school, but I didn't know what kind of doctor I wanted to be. And so FAMU actually put the foundation in me for me to understand some of the things that I needed to do to get there. And they helped me get there, actually. So I applied to Meharry. After being at Tulane School of Medicine for the summer, and Tulane School of Medicine had accepted me, and it was for the summer, and their stipulation was, if you do good during the summer, we're going to accept you to the medical school class. But on that Friday, we would have different doctors come in, cardiologists, and all kind of different people come in, and they would talk about their profession. And one Friday, they had a dentist come in, and he said he was talking about his profession, how he could be with his family. I work from 9 to 5. He didn't have to have those hospital issues. Dentistry has changed since then because dentistry is all consuming, but that impressed me. And I had applied to Meharry, Howard, Temple, and New Jersey Dental School, and I got accepted to all but one. And Meharry is the one that I chose. Meharry is the Utopia Black Medical School of the South. Everybody that can be there is there, from UCLA, Morehouse, Spelman. We had a FAMU portion too. And what impressed me is that when I got into Meharry with my FAMU background, me and one of my girls we were top of the class. with these UCLA people, Morehouse, Spelman. We were the top of the class in biochemistry. And so I knew then that what FAMU had done for me, it had prepared me to go into these places in which I can be just excel and just be top. So that's what happened. Years later, I'm practicing now because it's a long story. I've done everything in dentistry, and God has been so good to me. And so now I am dental director of a dental clinic in Montgomery, in which our main goal is to service HIV positive patients. But we opened the clinic up, and now I see everybody because the clinic is located in an area when there's not a lot of access to care, like health care. Like the people in this neighborhood, they have to go way across town to see a dentist. So now we open up the clinic in which we see everybody in the community, and we're able to provide that care for people who need it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Kofi, go ahead, jump in there.
Hey, so really right now, tell us about that book and what you have coming down the pike next.
Okay, well, the book is called Black Women Dentists, and I wrote the book actually, Kofi, in 2014. That's when I originally wrote it. But 3 months ago, the publisher got in contact with me and they said, you know what, we're going to re-release your book. And I was like, really? Yeah, really? Because it was an interest in Black women professionals because of the new Supreme Court. And so they was like, can you do the edits in a month? I did the edits in a week. I interviewed 14 Black women dentists across the country, and I told their stories. And let me tell you why it was so important for me to do this. I was at VSU, Virginia State University, HBCU, and I was doing a mom's project, which is Mission of Mercy, in which we give free dental care to people who can't afford it. And there was this young Black girl that was at VSU, and she was like a sophomore biology major. And she kept staring at me. And I was like, oh, maybe, you know how women are like, maybe my hair is not right, or maybe my makeup. So she came over, and she said, I have never in my life met a Black woman that's a dentist. And I was like, what? You haven't? There's so many of us. That's what I thought. But of course, that's not true. And so that conversation stayed with me. And I even wrote about her in the book, how that stayed with me. And I just want to say, you cannot emulate something that you don't see. So I wanted to make sure I got this book out that I can encourage young Black women, even young Black males, to go into the profession of dentistry. And that's why I wrote the book. And it talks of 14 women across the country.
Nice.
That's huge.
Nice. Marcus, we have any questions for Dr. Lord? Oh, go ahead.
Hello, wait. Go ahead.
I was asked how to tie this together with women's athletics at FAMU. Let me tell you how I'm going to tie that together. Okay, these women in this book, the publisher sent me a copy. These women in this book are extraordinary. I did the edits on them. Every last woman in this book has progressed. Some of them have their own practice now. They're head of this and head of that. And even one person is a member of parliament in Jamaica. So these women in this book are extraordinary, okay? Okay, I'm tying this to FAMU women's athletics because the women in the FAMU athletic teams are extraordinary. They are just phenomenal, and we have to support them. And I'm going to say a shout out. I know when I'm supposed to do this, but shout out to the 4x400 relay team at FAMU 1984. Vogel Newsom, Pam Oliver, Pam Porter, and Mary Jones. They're probably watching tonight. And I'm going to shout out to them because they were excellent and they smoked the SWAC. And that's what we need to get back to in all our athletics. The way Kofi has said before, that every team on FAMU campus need to be a national champion. And if they're not, we don't need to be in the sport. And so we have to encourage alumni to support these athletic programs. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm selling this book, and August 11th, part of the proceeds will go to women's athletics team at FAMU. We're working with the foundation now, trying to get that together. And so I'm going to go ahead and do my little part. I consider myself a super booster, and I'm going to try to see if I can help by giving some money from the book to the athletic programs, because we no longer need to persist in mediocrity. That's not FAMU, and that's not a Rattler. Every team that we have needs to be number one. We ain't selling for no number two. Every team, the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team, the softball, the golf, we need a national championship. And we're not going to settle for anything else. And that's what the alumni have to be. We all need to be on one assignment, and we need to get together in our collectives and give these folks the money so they can have these top programs. I mean, when the basketball coach says she's not even having a camp, I'm like, are you kidding? We need to support these people so they can do what they need to do. So all alumni, y'all got your assignment. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Because I'm a Rattler. I'm not mediocre. No.
Amen.
And I'm not
Amen.
settling for any type of mediocrity.
Amen. Marcus, you got any questions there for Dr. Lori?
You know what? I don't have a one, because I don't know if I can ask a question that would top what she just said.
I was gonna help y'all tonight.
It's all good, Doc. Again, let's make sure we put the graphic up for the now the book signing. So the book signing is August 10th at the gallery there. How do you say that? I may have butchered. I don't know if I butchered the name.
Brian, you did a good job last time. It's called Cruson Gallery.
There we go.
You did a good job, and this is during Black Week. You know, people don't even understand about Martha's Vineyard. We need to learn our history.
Yes,
Martha's Vineyard used to be a vacation place for Black people. And that week is August 6th, the second week of August is considered Black Week. That means everybody that's Black and their mama gonna be on that island. And actually the Boston chapter of FAMU usually comes up and have a party and everything. So I'm actually going to be up there for Black Week, and I'm going to be signing the book, which I'm so excited because I just really want to get the word out about Black women dentists, and then I want to really be successful so I can donate to my my alma mater, which I love with all my heart.
It's good. And then the following day is when it will be available. The following day is when it'll be available on Amazon.com. And so that's awesome. So let's make sure everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, when the book goes on sale, August 11th. Let me look at my calendar real quick. That is a Thursday. So we will get another chance to remind everybody one day after our show. So we'll be reminding everybody. Dr. Lori, you may have, I don't know if you're going to be, well, no, you're not going to be doing the book signing at night. But anyway, you'll have to send us maybe a couple of pictures from the book signing. So that way we can do one more reminder on the next day to let everybody know to go get the
problem.
book.
Now they can order the book on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be on Amazon. It's $12.50. So I'm trying to work out how much we're gonna donate to the athletic programs, women's program. But like I said, we need to support all programs at FAMU. But one thing I want to say about the book is that it's not a coffee table book. Okay, it's not something, because it's beautiful pictures of beautiful women that practice dentistry, but it is not a coffee table book. It's actually a book that I really would want you to read and learn more about the profession of dentistry and how it's so important to have a dentist that looks like you. I mean, all your doctors should be Black. Okay? You need to try to really get somebody who looks like you. And it tells the importance of Blacks in dentistry. Let me give you the stats. No, we're going to end soon. there's 187,000 practicing dentists in the United States. The majority of them are white males. Only less than 4% of the practicing dentists in the United States are Black. And so that's roughly 7,000 Black people practicing dentistry. Okay, 7,000. And out of that 7,000, about close to 3,000 are Black women. And why do you say, well, Dr. Wilson, why that's so important? Let me tell you why it's important. Because you want somebody, when you go to the doctor, who is culturally sensitive to what your needs are. And we've been trained like that, okay? That's why it's so important. Also, let me tell you this. 60% of Black people are treated by the Black dentist. 10% Caucasian. I think it's 11% Asian. And it's all in my book. I did the research. And so this is important because if the Black dentists go away, what does that mean? That means that if they're seeing 60% of the Black people are people, that means that Black people don't have access to care. Why do you think it takes you at least 3 to 4 weeks when you call your dentist? I went to my dentist and I had to wait 3 months. It's because there's not enough dentists to treat the U.S. population. So if all the Black people that practice dentistry are no longer there, then you won't have access to care. And we are Medicaid providers. That means mostly Black dentists accept Medicaid because that's what a lot of our people may have. And so it is so important that we emulate this and let other kids know, the young kids. I mentor more than one person at FAM, try to get them into a profession. Yeah, you're going to make a lot of money, but it's also something that you should do to help yourself and your people.
So we need to get Dr. Robinson to start a medical school and a dentist school of dentistry at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University is what you say.
Now, Kofi, you don't have to bring him up.
See, I was about to say something. You about to mess up a good interview, Kofi. Hey, Doc, like you said. Hey, real quick, Doc, you got me thinking. Can you provide a link on how we can find Black dentists in our communities, in our cities? Obviously, I'm in Orlando. Sure. I want to go find one now. See, you look. I need that. So.
Well, you know, however you have each other.
Yes. So however you can.
Brian, you can always come to Montgomery and let me see you. You don't have to find. You can come up here and I'm gonna treat you real good. But no, I already have somebody in mind for you. He went to FAMU and he went to Meharry with me, and he's in Orlando. Okay. So I will definitely hook you up with somebody. But yeah, appreciate you that. Can always come see me.
I could. It's only a short ride. You know what? I have to make that trip. I have to make that trip. All right. Hey, Dr. Lori, thank you.
Calm all that foolishness down now.
Look, anyway, hey, thank you again. Put the graphic up one more time, producer Mel, so that way people can see. They can go pre-order their book, Black Women Dentists, by our very own Dr. Lori Wilson. Available everywhere on Amazon, August 11th. And if you're up in Martha's Vineyard that week, Black Week, make sure you stop over at the Cousin Gallery in Oak Bluffs and go say hi. All right. Thank you, Doc. Now you may have to go. You may have to do some policing in the chat room now that you've been out of here, because they might have gotten wild over the last few minutes. Thank you.
Let's go.
Okay. Bye.
Great job. Now let's transition to our other alumni spotlight here as we go over to Mike RoadDog Reid. Mike has had a successful travel agency that he has been chartering and creating travel packages for FAMU alumni. Just how about sports fans, FAMU alumni, especially anybody who's in the Central Florida, Tampa region, Tallahassee, South Florida. Mike does a great job in covering and making opportunities available. Mike, how you doing, RoadDog?
Oh man, how are you guys doing, man? That was just a great interview that guys just had, and I'm glad you brought up to Dr. Wilson that she needs to create a directory of black dentists. Now, granted, my dentist is black here in Tampa, but if there's a cute little, there's a cute female dentist here in Tampa, Florida, I may go take my Medicaid, I may take my benefits over to nice young
All right,
lady.
make,
So,
now
I'll
you gonna have
put
to
in a
hit the
word
beep or
with.
something.
if Dr. Miles will be
No,
out
but
there,
look, Mike already tried to tell me. Look, Mike was already like, "Hey, you guys may have to be on delay." Look, we don't have no delays, so don't get too crazy with it. But it's good to have Mike on. Yes, yes. Hey, Mike, let
Dr.
people.
Wilson, let's update that directory. Let's
Yeah,
find us some black
yes,
dentists
yes,
throughout the
yes,
country.
definitely. We want to do more of that. Hey, so Mike, let people know. Let's start here with the first basics. Let people know when you were at FAM, why FAMU, and how you got into creating travel packages and opportunities like that you've been doing for decades, really several years, as long as I've known you for 20 something years.
Going on 32 years.
I
Actually,
knew it
going
was
on
I knew it
32
was
years.
something like that. Yeah. So go
Mhm.
ahead, give us the background.
Well, like I say, I am a 1984 grad, school SBI. Got got interested in FAM actually in April of '81. At the time I was a student at Pace University in New York City, and just one day, everything that could have gone wrong coming home from Pace University went wrong. If you've ever been on the New York subway and you've ever gotten stuck in the tunnels going between Manhattan and Queens, and you know you get stuck in there and you're packed on top of people and you're stuck and the air conditioner goes off. Oh, it is a terrible situation. Once you get home, once you get to Queens, usually have to take a bus. Well, at the time, there used to be these like shuttle buses or like shuttle vans. These guys were very crafty and creative, and they used to do the vans. Now they weren't necessarily legal vans, with the city, but but these guys were enterprising, driven. So they used to do the routes. So that day I get in that van, we get in an accident.
Mm.
Okay, so the police come and all that kind of stuff, and because you're in a van that you're not supposed to be in, everybody in the van gets a ticket, citation and all this kind of stuff. So long story short, what normally would take me an hour to come from Pace University took me the entire evening. So I came home that night and I told my mother, I was like, Mom, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm not going, I'm going somewhere to college next semester because at the time I'm in New York, Pace University, great Wall Street commuter school. My next door neighbor, he was at Howard University. My homeboy down the block, he was at North Carolina A&T. My other homeboy around the corner, he was at Tuskegee. So, they're coming home with all these great stories about, you know, time on the yard and this, that, and the other. Look, I was commuting, going to school, and I was working at JFK Airport, working in the restaurant. So that was my existence for the time. So when I told my mother I was leaving, she was like, "Well, I've been waiting for you to leave for like the past 2 years. I like to move. I'm glad you finally came up with it." So, the college handbook that I had at the time when I graduated from high school, I just flipped it open. It landed at a college called Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, and I just started reading what was going on. I'm like, Florida. I'm like, doesn't snow in Florida, to the best of my knowledge. And I'm like, look, I don't really know anybody in Florida. I could go down there and cut the food and do whatever I want to do, like my friends are doing everywhere else. Nobody's going to know. So that next week, I called the school And long story short, they sent me applications and this, that, and the other. And during that time between April and August, I started receiving phone calls from SBI students. And I'm like, who these people and how they get my number? So apparently Dr. Mobley was putting the press on me because she's having kids who are interning where I'm going to school. I'm like, yeah, I'm here at Price Waterhouse or I'm at Arthur Anderson and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are interning, and here I am trying to get on down there at Pace University. I'm right down there on Wall Street University, and these guys are already there. So, like I say, I don't want to say got pulled in, and then there was what some people don't realize. There was this show that FAM used to have that had this picture of, it seemed like the kids were on the beach, and I'm sitting there like, I'm thinking it's like, clam bake and all this kind of stuff, so I literally in my closet here, I have the same Frisbee that I took to FAM in 1981. It's still in my foot locker because I'm under the impression that as soon as I get out of class, we're going to be at the beach like the beach boys, get to Tallahassee. There's not a body of water for like an hour, So I'm like, but long story short, when I got to FAM, it was the best time of my life. When I got to FAM in August of '81, I had so much fun. My mom didn't hear from me until like Halloween. By that time, I had already been to Miami. I'd been one or two places. My roommate at the time, he was in the band, so I'm learning about the band and the patch because, like I say, I'm from New York. I didn't know anything about the Marching 100 till I got to town. But like I say, long story short, it's been the best 41 years of my life. And like I say, it's like I say, it's indescribable. The love and loyalty that I have for my alma mater, which is why sometimes you guys hear some of my conversations, in some of
It's
these
love.
chat
It's
rooms.
love. We know.
Yeah,
We know.
Yeah,
Passion.
let's
Yeah, there
call
you
it
go.
passion.
That's the word.
Let's
Passion.
call it
Yeah, there
passion.
it
Let's
is.
call it passion. So, but long
So
story short, I got to Tampa. Graduated '84, went home for 5 years. Well, actually, was supposed to go home for a month. 1 month turned into 5 years. But then after 5 years, I just decided to leave New York and decided to come to Tampa, and have been here in Tampa since March of '89. Don't like I say, I barely go home during any month that has a letter R in it.
So the first, now, of course, the travel packages and things that you put together. Now, real quick, can you recall the very first one you put together was when and to where?
Oh, that was in the first one for FAM was in '92 when, with all due respect to Dr. Humphreys, he saved my job. Well, not saved my job, but he saved my company when they started playing the classic in Atlanta. So, like I say, I used to do shopping trips to Miami, cruises, the one-day cruises, the gambling cruises, and so forth that were proliferating through the state. But when Dr. Humphreys and them started the Atlanta Classic, oh, it was on then. Instead of just going to Tallahassee, yeah, now we had some place to go. So now you get, this is in the early '90s when you had the proliferation of the classics, which is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about us needing to bring them back, because those things were not just games in the city; these things were community engagements for not just the city, but for our alums who don't normally come to Tallahassee. So, like I say, I started with Atlanta. Then, as other games came about, Circle City Classic, like I say, Orange Blossom Classics, and so forth. So we used to try to keep up with what was the pulse of HBCU football at the time. Used to mix in the Buccaneers because at that time the Bucks once, shout out to Tony Dungy, he made the Bucks relevant. So started incorporating the Buccaneers into that as well. So yeah, the '90s were a pretty great time, and like I say, we were relevant in the '90s as well. So it was a very easy sell.
Right. Right. I think Marcus, question. Go ahead, jump in there. Ask a question or two for Mike. What you got?
No, Mike and I have had a lot of conversations, not on here, but on our friendly little chat board.
Mm-hmm.
So, how would you balance between the classics or sending games out for a classic format and also home games that are relegating home games to some of maybe our opponents that don't quite have the marquee name?
Well, to your point, you're right. There's a happy medium between the home games and the need for, I want to say, exposure. See, I look at classics as not only an avenue to bring further engagement to our alums who don't live in Tallahassee or live in the state of Florida or even the Southeast region at all. Because, like I say, we may have 3,000-4,000 season ticket holders right now. Have we done any, analytics or data research to find out where are they? Are they in Jacksonville? Or, what concentration is in Tallahassee? What concentration is here in Tampa, Central Florida, South Florida? It's my belief that we have more people who would buy into what we need to take care of in Tallahassee. If you gave me at least one game a year, someplace I really want to go, be it Miami, be it Atlanta, be it Indianapolis, be it Las Vegas, be it, you give me one game a year, I'll pay you. I'll pay you more money than you're currently asking for your season ticket. I'll give you more money if you take me somewhere I really want to have a good time. Don't get me wrong. I love the city of Tallahassee, but $300 for the La Quinta, dude, you're asking a lot. Okay, let me see. The words expressed are those of Michael Reid and not of Alumni Association. Okay, this is all right. This is just me talking. You gave me the mic, and I said I'd just keep it light and tight, But when people are saying, "Well, it costs so much," I'm like, okay, it costs so much to go to Chicago. It costs so much to go to Las Vegas. Well, heck, I'm paying $300 to be in Tallahassee, and quiet as kept. There are a lot of people on the other side of Gain Street wearing garnet and gold that aren't all that enamored with paying $300 for the Quinta either. So, you add to it that Tallahassee I don't want to say is pricing itself out, but when you have $300 night rooms, you have 3 conflicts this year with Florida State, one including homecoming, and then you add a $9.99 offer to watch all of our games at home. You got to offer people something to make them, to give them their value.
Here, let me add this, and I think this is interesting that you brought that question up, Marcus and Mike, with your response, because I heard it discussed today. I don't know if you guys have heard the latest scuttlebutt between Georgia and Florida as it relates to Jacksonville, and there's, at least from one side, talks about, hey, why don't we move this back to our stadium? And it's all about these coaches wanting to impress and recruit because of the advantage of being and showcasing out their facilities. Now, despite what we don't have completely at FAMU, it's better than what it was, but we do have a great atmosphere at Bragg. I mean, if you went to homecoming, you know what it's like. If you went to the Southern game the year before, you know. Those were big recruiting days for Coach Simmons and Coach Riz now, who's over recruiting. They capitalized big time on those days. And so as we talk about moving games away from Tallahassee, remember back in the day, we were like, we wanted more games because we were like, we only had 3 home games. But I understand why we Look, I came to FAMU because of the Circle City Classic. So I understand the importance of classics and what it did for HBCUs in communities like in the Midwest. Okay. But now you've seen see an era where recruiting and coaches are really wanting more games, more opportunities to showcase that home base. And so when we say, well, why isn't athletics moving on this and why isn't the president moving on that? It could be based on that factor of, hey, we have such a great thing here on campus. Let's show more of that. Now, yeah, I get the whole pricing out and some of the other stuff about Tallahassee, but you can't match. You can't take a kid to the Atlanta Classic. You can't take a kid to the OBC and show him what it's like to be in Tallahassee at Bragg Stadium on game day. You know what I'm saying? It's two different atmospheres. So quickly, Mike, what your take on that from that aspect or from that perspective? What's your thoughts?
No, while I totally agree with you about the home game atmosphere, the home game atmosphere isn't going to generate any money from the alum who's living in Chicago or the alums who lives in New York or Ohio and things of that nature. That's not endearing me to want to just contribute just because. See that, back in the day, just because marketing pulled on heartstrings and it worked. But right now, like I say, you got the person I affectionately call Mickey Rat offering $9.99 a month to watch everybody's game. I can watch Southern, I can watch A&T, I can watch us every week for just $9.99 a month. So my challenge is, what are we now going to offer the new generation, the new alum, the new Jack alums, that's going to encourage them to buy into coming into Tallahassee more than once. So like you say, we like to have that atmosphere, and for what it's worth, we've got enough games, or my belief is we've got enough games annually where we can take one game somewhere and make some mutual money with that other team. Be it, okay, Jackson State, okay, we're in Miami with them this year. I don't know if we're in Miami with them again next year. But if not, yeah, Jackson State is, to me, is too big a game to play in Tallahassee. But are we trying to generate money? We're trying to generate, eyeballs? Are we trying to generate, recruiting with that game? I mean, I understand that, but the economics of what we're dealing with, we've got to look at trying to reach people who have no intention of coming to Tallahassee. How do we get them to buy into what we need done in Tallahassee without necessarily coming to Tallahassee? And that's my belief, that if you took one game a year and we go to Atlanta, or we go to Las Vegas, or we go to SoFi Arena, that new barn they got out there in Los Angeles, I think you could garner more revenue from folks who will never possibly set foot in Tallahassee or the state of Florida. You get that money from them, it adds up. Like I say, I'm only asking one game a year. I'm not saying, that we become globetrotters like the, Boston Shamrocks or nothing like that. Yeah, I'm like, look, I think we could go with one national classic a year. We pick a game, and that's the game that we focus on, in addition to taking care of the home. See, now that we, I'll talk about the home, we've also got to do something with that barn that we have. Now, granted, we're putting up a nice little erector set for the president and the press box. But you got some fly alums out here. They don't want to be just sitting out there roasting in the end zone, in the north end end zone. Like say, eyelashes and weave cost a lot to be melted. Let's be honest. maybe let's talk it. Girls want to be cute, but they don't want to be dripping and stuff falling off. So
Kofi,
again,
go ahead. Kofi, jump in. Jump in there. Come on,
yeah,
Kofi.
it's time to look at that north end zone. People know I've been talking. Look, we've got the retrofit brag for 2025 and beyond. That means we need to start looking at adding suites around the top or the bottom. We need to do, like the Top Golf type of arrangement in that north end zone. The football team and all the guys, all that alums. You got the top of that club, the field house. We can put something, that picture that Mr. Overton left us has been sticking in a lot of y'all's minds. It's time to upgrade that, and it's time for us as alums to come up with enough initiatives that we all can buy into collectively to take care of home.
Well, I want to say, obviously, my brother Mike and I have also had a ton of conversations. And this is along the lines of what we talk about all the time. I will say we already know that, obviously, who we put in the seat as AD is going to have a lot to do with the direction of the program, where the game is going to go. I've been checking out the chat room. Somebody asked in general about what happened with the Atlanta game. Well, what happened with the Atlanta game is we don't have anybody in the seat with enough initiative, and I want to say enough foresight and enough balls basically to tell people where to go and how to do. In addition, you need know-how. A few years ago, I want to say in 2018, in Willie Simmons' first year, we were scheduled to play Jackson State in Atlanta. We were scheduled to play Jackson State in Atlanta. Milton Overton had negotiated the game. Howsoever, when certain people from a certain fraternity got ruled that the game was going to be in Atlanta, they basically sabotaged the game, sabotaged the promoter, sabotaged all of that stuff. And then when you asked them what was going on, then they said, well, we want to give Coach Simmons the opportunity to play all of his games at home. We want the games at home. I get it, right? And he said, we want to give us that home field advantage. I get it, right? But then we lost that freaking game. And I was just sitting up there like, okay, this is ridiculous because the game only drew 17,000 people, maybe 15, if I be honest, 15,000 people. If FAMU had played Jackson State in Atlanta that year, we would have had at least 40,000 people, at least. Now, going into next year, all right, this is the big brouhaha, and this is going to be a discussion because you're talking about Deion Sanders' return to Tallahassee. Deion Sanders' return to Tallahassee with Jackson State, possibly the East being up for grabs. That will probably be the biggest home game in FAMU's history. It will probably be the one game that we'll have the opportunity maybe to have ESPN Game Day on, or Game Day to be a part of. That being said, what we're talking about, what we're in need of is leadership that understands the economics and the power of athletics so that the right decisions can be made. FAMU obviously doesn't need to. FAMU and Jackson State don't need to go to a place like Atlanta and make only $500,000. They need to be in the $1 million range because of what that city, the impact that's going to be, that both schools are going to bring to the city. Obviously, if you get a city, a promoter that can guarantee that FAMU, Jackson State, FAMU Southern, FAMU Tennessee State can get a guarantee of 1.5, anywhere between 750 to 1.5 mil, let's do it. But to just talk about that and then talk about the cost of the bands and the other stuff and not know what you're doing, that's going to be an issue straight up, and I think, again, we're saying the same things, but I want to see for us the right people in the seat making the right decisions and people that understand if you're not an expert with it, let's hire the experts to do what they do so that we're not suffering or being at a loss, looking ignorant out there and like a chicken with the head cut off in a spotlight that we don't. To negotiate a stadium takes and understanding that many of our presidents, many of our ADs that are currently in the seat really don't have, which is how you get schools to sign the contract like they signed at the Southern Heritage Classic, making everybody look silly. And then people get mad because we want to pull out. Well, you signed the contract, smarty. Take the
Okay,
time.
I totally agree. I totally
Yeah, I
agree.
mean,
That situation in Memphis leaves a lot to be desired, but I still believe something can be worked out. We got to keep that game in
absolutely.
Memphis.
And
It's a
look, and
win-win
check
for
it out. Watch
everybody.
this. This is how ignorant, and this is why we as alums have to stay informed. The Florida Classic was up for bid.
Mm-hmm.
Up for
Don't get me
bid.
started. Don't get me
The
started, bro.
city of Tampa offered both schools considerably more money to play the game there, but the people that made the decisions for Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University and Bethune-Cookman University decided not to put the game up for bids. Mind you, we have multiple cities in the state of Florida that are more than capable of hosting the game. Miami can host the Florida Classic. Orlando has hosted the Florida Classic. Tampa can host the Florida Classic. Jacksonville can host the Florida Classic. To not put the game up for bids is absolutely absurd, but when you have ignoramuses making decisions for your school and your athletic department that are unwilling to have the necessary discussions, you end up in the spot that we're in right now.
Correct.
You know, people like, well, how do we get the erector set? The erector set is going up in Brad. Well, the erector set almost wasn't the case. We almost got the stadium shut down because of the ignoramuses that we have making decisions for our school. And until we get active, until we get in the role, until we get in the flow, we're going to be in the same spot. So I'm in total agreement. Let's take a game, but let's take a game for the right price. Let's have people in position that understand what they're doing, so that we don't end up just going for the sake of it and we can make some real money.
Correct. We should be going. Yes.
No, go ahead. Go ahead real quick. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say to his point, I'm not saying let's just take a game for the sake of taking a game. When we go to these cities, we are leaving 8-figure money in these cities. Mm-hmm. I've always said that we need to set up fronts with these cities and the promoters and so forth before we sell a ticket. We should be talking into the millions. For us to be coming 25 years, we've been over down the street here in Orlando for 25 years, and we still coming out with like $800,000. Come on, man.
Have we made $25 million? Question is, 25 years. Have we made $25 million in 25 years? Interesting question. I'm just putting that out there. I'm just putting that out there for people.
No, you can look on there's a little paragraph in each one of our federal our financial records that's on our website. There's a little paragraph that says Florida Classic Consortium, and it tells you, that like right before the last period how much we made from being in the game. I don't know the last time it's been over $1 million. But it should be $1 million. It should be at least $2-3 million for both schools before we even set foot over there. For the amount of money that we leave there, and especially when you consider that the city of Orlando gave Florida State $4 or $5 million to bring mediocre Mississippi down there a couple of years ago. Yeah, Alabama played Cincinnati and got $6 million. Now that's ridiculous. When's the last time? Yeah, when's the last time the two of us have gotten $6 million from that city alone? See, so a lot of people think Mike wants the game back in Tampa. No, Mike wants the game in the city in this state that gives us the best bang for our dollar. If it's in Orlando, then fine, but let's put it out there for bid. It's time to stop playing ourselves cheap. It's time to get what we're worth. If that means just rotating the game throughout the state every year, that's perfect. That if anything, that decreases the reliance on us having to make people go to a city they don't want to go to anymore. I mean, Orlando's cool in the game with me, but Okay, when we went there in 96, 97, those kids are grown now. Now those kids have kids. Are they still going to Orlando? You know, or I as a person who sells tickets, it gets tougher for me every year because the people are aging out. You know, our diehards are physically unable to continue on. See, so that's my question. Okay, what do we do with Tallahassee? We've got to have a facility that gets the, I don't want to say the jit factor in the Tallahassee, because like I say, sitting out there roasting in Bragg, that's not going to get those cute girls out there, man. I'm just telling you, cute girls
Hey,
bring
Mike,
money.
let's show people before we get ready to wrap the segment up. Let's show people the package, the travel package for the OBC. We've got the graphic that shows the travel package right here. The Mall and Ball getaway. If you would go through that with everybody briefly. You got about a minute here or so. So let people know what all comes with this package and where is it taken off from. And, of course, all the contact information to learn more and to reach out to Mike is there. But go ahead, Mike.
Sure. The Mall and Ball weekend, well, the Mall and Ball getaway is a one-day trip from Tampa, Florida. So we're just going down for the day. The game's at 3:00 in the afternoon. So we're leaving from Tampa, but I've had interest from as far up as Brooksville. So if you're living up in Brooksville, if enough of you come, I'll originate the trip up there. We're picking up in St. Pete. We may pick up in Sarasota and Fort Myers as the demand warrants it. But it's a one-day trip. $99 includes your transportation. Now, we call it Mall and Ball because if you like to shop, we can drop you off at Sawgrass Mills. So you can go and spend the afternoon at Sawgrass Mills while the rest of us go and attend the game. So if you'd like to go shopping at the world's largest outlet mall for the day, you're more than welcome to join us. So it's $99 plus the ticket. So if you choose not to go to the game, you can stay at the mall. But we've got club level tickets in the between sections 213 and 223, which are right now the best seats in the house. We're offering those tickets for just $129, all inclusive, in addition to the $99. So we've got a few seats on the bus, but I am running out of tickets. That is why once we get off here, I'm about to take and honor some more orders and get those taken care of. So if you're looking for a ticket for the game, please give us a call or go to the website, justlookingout.com, and just place your order.
So $99 gets you on the bus to and from, gets you to the mall.
Correct.
And then in addition to, if you want to buy the ticket for the suite level, that's $129. I know we've got a visual of the suite as well.
Club level.
So that's
club level,
club level. Yeah. So
yes.
thank you. You got to be very important. You have to specify
yeah.
club level. So that's a separate $129 there to do the club level. I think we've got the graphic there, which kind of just shows the club level as well. See if we can get that pulled up here quickly. Otherwise, we'll keep going. And that's your club level view from inside at the Hard Rock Stadium. So that $129 ticket gets you into the nice club level area, so on and so forth. And I know, so again, that's $99 that gets you on the bus. Again, put the graphic up one more time, Mel, so that way people can write that info down if they want to reach Mike.
Or they can reach me at area code 813-240-3116, or my new additional number, which is 906 RoadDog. So it's not 906 RoadDog, which is right 762-3364. So it's area code 906 RoadDog. So you can reach me that way too.
All right,
at any time.
RoadDog.
906
All right.
RoadDog.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And, of course, Mike will also be running an HBCU alumni party train to South Carolina for the FAMU South Carolina State game. And Clark Atlanta versus Allen games in October. The FAMU one-day road trips from Tampa to Tallahassee. The Jacksonville Express one-day road trips from Tampa to Jacksonville as well. So, I mean, that's just some of the packages, and those are like the Jacksonville Express. Those are pro football games, correct?
Those are the Jaguars. Right. The Jaguars are playing the New York Giants, the Baltimore Ravens, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Dallas Cowboys. So we got a lot of fans wanting to go just for the date. So we're, like I say, you give me a reason to get you out the house. That's what I do.
JustLookingOut.com. That's the name of the website. Mike, RoadDog, Reid. Mike, appreciate you coming on, sharing the info. Lots of great ideas, Mike. Very original stuff. I will hit you offline because that your one game idea is already being done by some school that I follow, and they've had great success with it. They even throw out new uniforms every year, do these great cool videos and all that stuff. But I mean, they that's just what they do. But anyway, so it's not new. It ain't rocket science, and it generates money.
Not rocket science. It's just,
it ain't right.
Yeah, it's just getting the people.
Take some creative people, some people that are committed, and some people who know what the hell they're doing. As we said.
And can I also say one quick thing about the party train to South Carolina?
Yeah.
We initially started it as a trip from Miami to Columbia, South Carolina, but we're now looking for those up north, as far as New York, who may be interested in taking a train north down to Columbia. We've got a train from both directions of leaving around 11 o'clock that Friday. We all converge into Columbia, South Carolina, attend the games, and then get back on the trains early that morning and coming back. It's going to be a great package. We're waiting on some finalized stuff. My Southern Regional president is on another conference call. So as soon as I can get the parameters from him, we're going to have a package together that's going to knock your socks off. So if you're from New York to Miami, we're gonna do a bang up package. We're gonna have a great time, all in the span of 2-3 days.
All right, appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for your time. Thanks for everything you do, and we'll be in touch. We're gonna see if we can try to make some things happen, especially come to Florida Classic time. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking for some sponsors. Anybody who wants to sponsor Florida Classic, holler at me, holler at Mike. We got some opportunities. We got some things we want to do. So holler at us. All right.
906 RoadDog. That's the new number. That's
906 RoadDog. 906 RoadDog. That's 1G. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Thanks, Mike, Reid. Thanks, Dr. Lori. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, motivation.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
I miss all my friends in school.
Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccine.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kofi, Marcus Green filling in for Kelvin Rozier. A bit of a news flash that I saw in the chat rooms during our last segment with Dr. Lori and Mike Reid, the town hall meeting put on by the National Alumni Association. Rumors are that not one mention of athletics. Not one mention of athletics.
Are you surprised?
No, not when I saw a video not when I saw the president's video for 9 minutes that didn't have one mention of athletics. No, I'm not surprised at all. I just wondered whether somebody tried to bring it up and it got filtered, out. Like, hey, did your question get clipped? Did they just not go to it? I can't believe that nobody tried to ask an athletics-related question. I refuse to believe that nobody tried. Now, whether they chose to give that question to Dr. Robinson is another story. But again, all right. So we got a lot to get through here in this last segment. Appreciate you guys watching wherever you are. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. A lot of people on YouTube appreciate you, but hit that thumbs up button, okay? Make sure you are already subscribed to our page there. That's the Jericho Broadcast Network's app, their YouTube page. All of the shows that come on the Black College Sports Network air there. You can also download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. MyJBM, MyBCSN is where you can find it on your Google Play and Apple Store. Real quick, Kofi, I we didn't mention this. I've seen the videos from band camp. That looked lit. I mean, I almost cussed. That ass was hot. The band camp looked so dynamic, man. I want give a quick word or two about band camp, if you would, please.
I mean, it was great, man. The band camp was really blessed. They had somebody to help to offset a lot of the costs for the band camp. So the price for the band camp went down. People saw the value in the most comprehensive band camp in the United States, and they took advantage of it. I have a ton of tennis clients here in Tallahassee, and most of them are Asian. And so I was preparing to teach one of them, and then the mom called me and was like, "Hey, Matthew is in the band camp." I said, "What? Matthew is in the band camp?" The Asian young man was down there on his knee with the saxophone. I said, "That's my boy. That's my boy." But look, they had somebody out there, that helped to underwrite it. I think that's great, and that's part of the stuff that we look to be doing. You'll be hearing more about it in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Dr. Lori is in on it as well. And so I'm telling you, the band camp was absolutely amazing. It was the largest HBCU band camp in the country, and that's the way it should be, and it's going to be even bigger and better next year.
600 students getting it done the way you got to get it done. Don't wait on somebody else. Do more with more. That, as the saying that was charged by Kofi. Do more with more. All right, let's go back for a quick second and mention the 2022 SWAC preseason honors that were dished out. Of course, FAMU picked second in the Eastern Division. Quote from Coach Simmons: "We're honored to have 6 student athletes voted as preseason All-SWAC members. They're all well-deserving. Obviously, the goal is to have the most postseason All-SWAC performers, but this is definitely worthy of acknowledging." And they start, of course, with Isaiah Land, who was the preseason Defensive Player of the Year and first-team All-SWAC defense. Xavier Smith, preseason All-SWAC first team on offense. BJ Bowler, preseason All-SWAC first team defense. And we can proudly say we've had all 3 guys on our show. So shout out to BJ, Xavier, and Isaiah. Although we had, let me see who else. Jose Romo Martinez made preseason All-MEAC first team special teams as a place kicker. Cameron Colvin was a preseason All-SWAC second team offensive lineman. And Javon Morgan was the preseason All-SWAC second team defensive back. Very surprised that the nation's leading punt returner, I think I have that right, punt returner, Jamarie Reid, was not first or second team. Very surprised by that. Any other snubs that you guys felt should have been acknowledged, or somebody that should have been acknowledged, rather, on that first or second team? And again, of course, this is just preseason.
Yeah. I don't know about preseason, but I think by the end of the season, General Hunt's going to be on this list.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
And I think
Lovey
Fadul's going to have a
Jenkins.
comeback year, too.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm hoping our
in the
QBs,
back.
And my guy from Texas A&M is going to be on there as well. So, they don't know everybody that's coming through the camp right now. And I say that's just as well, because this team, this FAMU Rattler football team, is low and dead. Low and dead. This team is loaded. This is as loaded a team. I thought last year's team was loaded. This year's team is more loaded.
Do you guys agree with? Do you guys agree? Now, I think Gerald Thomas brought this up about this being sort of a last dance kind of thing, and I mentioned that to Coach Simmons. He kind of laughed at that, and I don't know. We'd be looking to see if that theme carries. But when I heard Xavier Smith talking about how the level of accountability by guys, that just, to me, it was just something different that you heard in his voice. And I don't know how it came off in the interviews, but in just talking to him, the level at which guys are showing their commitment to one another this year is another level. And so when I bring that whole thing up about, or when he mentioned here on our show a couple of weeks back, so I'm not taking any credit for it. But that whole last dance kind of theme around this squad, I think there's truth to that. And so when we talk about this squad and what this team is going to potentially do, there's a sense of urgency among these guys. And it's starting with how they work during the summer and how they're holding guys accountable. So I'm really excited. Yeah, Jordan Moore is a safety from A&M, Kofi. That I saw that there in the chat.
Correct. I mean, this team is super loaded. They're super dedicated. They're super disciplined. They're looking to go to the next level, but they're going to need all of that. They're going to need all of it, because every game is going to be super intense. UNC is going to be intense. Jackson State, we already know, is going to be super intense. Albany State is going to be super intense. Alabama A&M is going to be super intense. Mississippi Valley is going to be intense. South Carolina State wants to beat the brakes off of us. That game is going to be intense. Grambling is mad at because of thick 36. That's gonna be intense. UAPB is gonna be intense. Lord knows the Southern game is gonna be intense. And Alabama State, with the buzz with the bees and the moving and all the other stuff that Scotty and them was selling out about and everything, they gonna be intense. And the Florida Classic is always intense. We got to bring in every single game, but we have the depth in place that if this team stays focused, we gonna be all right.
Hey, I'm going to jump around here telling our producer, let's go some news that came out. Now, we've already been a little buzzed and stressed about the fact that we've lost two head coaches in the past week. Mike Rice resigned last Monday. The golf coach, Constance Orr, the softball coach, resigned after 2 seasons as the head coach. The previous 5, she was the assistant coach. And, I know there's been that one was real quiet under the radar, although she did inform her team on the same day of that. So I don't know if she will pop up coaching somewhere else, but I'm very curious about that resignation, given, that team was 6-22. Then it transitioned to an 18-31 team, even 500 record in conference. A lot of people are critical of her 2-year record, but that team was coming from the bottom. Hell, if you want to see transition, that team was 3-17 in Veronica Wiggins' last season. And that, obviously COVID had a lot of issues with that last year, but that team had got better each year. So why she left, I'm very curious to know more. And even same thing with Mike Rice, why he left. I'd want to know more. But this one is curious. Right on the day before camp, we've got our defensive coordinator leaving, and
he was already been gone. We learned about that last week.
Brandon Sharp was already.
About him. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't. That was on. I want to say Football Scoop or some other place that he was going to be leaving. So it still hurts right before camp, but it's not like the rug got pulled out from under us.
Well, I just saw the report. There was the thank you flyer, which thank you graphic, which comes out as he's headed off to Purdue. But still, the timing is like, huh?
We still have Smitty, and Coach had already made additional additions to the staff. We're stacked, bro. Even coaching wise. Now, the football team is the least of my worries right now. People always come in. We lost Black. That was a big deal. And this actually used to happen somewhat with Coach Joe's staff, because we had such, I want to say, a quality coaching staff, and we were getting wins. That people want quality coaches on their staff. Even Coach Taylor, Coach Joe Taylor had our special teams coordinator that also got taken to Purdue. We kind of been through this before, but Coach Simmons is prepared. I'm not overly concerned because, Coach Smith is a darn good coach. He's proved himself last year, and the fact that they were co-coordinators and they had a lot to do with it. And you have such an experienced defense coming back. Those guys have a good idea of what they need to do to be successful. So I think we're in pretty good hands with that. That being said, we as alums have to do what we need to do to apply additional pressure on the administration to speed up this process with our AD. It is imperative that we get that in order. It is imperative that the budget for the athletic department increases. The next BOT meeting, that 100% has to happen. Otherwise, again, we're operating behind the 8 ball, and it's not a good thing. We need to stop this mentality with our administration of having just enough or less than enough. We are doing more with less. At this point, FAMU deserves to be doing more with more. And the only way that's going to happen is, A, we step up our giving, step up our commitment, but we also need to apply enough pressure so that the accountability is stepped up, so that they understand that we actually give a damn. We give a damn about FAMU athletics. We care about our academics. We care about the band program, and we care about what goes on the highest of Seven Hills on all levels, and we want to win. Darn it.
I know everybody wants to speed up the process with the athletic director position, but I'm okay with Michael Smith in this interim position right now. And here's why. Here's why. Because whoever comes in, it's not like Michael Smith is going to hand that guy the book or female, I don't know, just hand that person the book and say, there you go. There's going to be a period of transition. There's going to be a period of transition. And
Absolutely.
And you know, whatever the issues are as to why coach, it's a budget. There's budgeting issues. Yes, that there, we understand that there's some budgeting issues. That is the bigger problem, I would say, more so than the fact that we don't have the permanent AD. I mean, we've got somebody who wants these guys to be successful. I had the conversation. I had a great 20 minutes with Michael Smith at SWAC Media Day. I'm more in the camp of seeing the kind of person who wants to see the young men and women in our athletic programs for FAMU be successful. Now, look, we didn't get into talking about the nuts and bolts of how we're going to get there. Not yet, but I'm still hoping to have that conversation with him. But whoever comes in, it's going to take a transition period, Kofi. It may end up being somebody who starts in January.
I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Here's my issue, right? And I love my brother Mike Smith. He is articulate. He's going to give you the political line. He's going to do all of that stuff. But in terms of getting things done, and pushing the bar, I'm not all that convinced now. I mean, obviously we got to keep him on till January. And right now, athletics is in a crisis. I want to be clear. Athletics is in a crisis. We don't have several coaches. The new AD has got to come in literally understanding that we got to hire somebody to oversee track, somebody to oversee softball, and you got to be able to have your short list of coaches in all of our sports, because anything could happen. And all of that matters, not to mention facilities and fundraising and all of that stuff. They've got to
You don't think Mike Smith is going to hire that person? You don't think Mike Smith is going to hire that person?
No.
You don't want him to hire that person.
He's the interim.
But you got to have somebody. You have to have somebody, though.
He's the interim. So when the new guy comes in within a month or so, why would you have the interim to hire somebody? You got an AD that would have to deal with that. No, Mike's not going to hire the new softball coach and not going to hire the new track coach. He's not. If he had done that, he should have been hired Darlene Moore a long time ago. That should have been happened. So it's ridiculous. You know, at the same time, I'm ready for this person to come in. We need to be ready with guns blazing. They need to be ready with guns blazing. You know, and again,
short list.
Yeah, they got to have a short list already prepared, already ready with all of the sports and all of the positions that need to be filled. But most importantly, in order for FAMU to be competitive for this year and beyond, the budget has to increase, which is a whole nother conversation that we have to have, that whoever is in charge really has to have, you know, with our BOT and with the alumni, so that can happen.
And there's a Zoom meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. That is an open forum. It is open to the public. I believe there was a so I don't know. I just saw Kenya posted.
There's a landing page that has a link to the Zoom. I was hoping it had the minutes for the past meetings, but I couldn't find it. I saw the NAA had a couple meetings from May and June, but I haven't seen any meeting minutes yet. But there is a Zoom that they've been holding weekly And I guess they canceled the one on holidays or rescheduled.
Where is that landing page at? Who's got the website or web page? Is that?
I can send it to you.
Yeah, or I know Kenya's there. If you can put that in the chat feed, Marcus, yeah, send that to me if you know where that page. That way, folks can go see that. Hey, yep. Dwayne Sweet, I wanted to give you some good news because you're searching. Hey, where's the good news? So, hey, FAMU football will appear on television, linear as well as digital, at least 7 games this year. This upcoming season, of course, beginning week 0 against North Carolina, 8 p.m. That'll be on the ACC network. Week 1's game against Jackson State will be on ESPN2. Week 2's game against Albany State, that's a 5 p.m. kickoff right now. That's going to appear on HBCU Go TV. Of course, they signed a new deal with the SWAC. So that's one of 2 games that they will carry. Alabama A&M week 4, that's a home game. That's a 6 p.m. kick. That will be on ESPN+. Homecoming in week 9 against UAPB will be televised by HBCU Go. The following week, week 10 versus Southern, I believe that's the 5th of November. That's a 6 p.m. That game will be on ESPNU. And then week 11, the Florida Classic will be on ESPNU. They don't have the time, but typically – the Classic is either a 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Eastern start, typically. So, they're, even though they don't have it listed, that's probably what time it'll be. Hey, also, FAMU announced the game day colors for this upcoming. We've got 5 home games. So the color combination and I think the acknowledgments for each of those games will be posted. If my producer has that for you guys who are watching, you will see that here in a second. Let me see if she gets it pulled up, or I'm going to have to find the graphic. So these are the colors and themes for the season. Yep, there we go. The first home game, the Jake Gaither Classic. That's the white, wearing all white, I'm assuming. September 24th, the Alabama A&M game is Youth and Community Day. That's Green Day. October 1st.
Sophie, I'm going to need you to get me a green shirt. I'm going to be at that game.
Let's go. I got you.
October 1st against Valley. Wear pink. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Parents and Family Weekend also. October 24th, homecoming against UAPB, wearing orange. And then November 5th is the blackout against Southern, senior night, military appreciation night. Now, seeing all these color combinations and themes brought up interesting little discussion that I saw on Twitter. Thanks to Kenya. I know Kenya Sykes had posted out the 12. Actually, and I think it's 11. You guys tell me that. Even Coach Rios said it was 12. I counted 11. These are the 12 games, are uniform combinations. Now, if you notice, we do wear orange helmet, white top, white pants twice. Okay? So I think we only had 11 combinations. I know it was going around that we didn't wear the same uniform combination, maybe during the regular season, because I think one of those was a playoff
that
game.
was postseason. The last one is postseason.
Okay, so in the regular season, we wore 11 combinations and 11 different. Now, we have 18 color combinations. So what that means is there are 7 combinations that are still we have not worn. And I did a quick little combination, and you tell me, guys, which ones you want to see. These are the ones we have not seen yet. White helmets. There are the white helmet with the orange top and green shorts. The white helmets with the orange top and orange bottom. The white helmet with the green top and orange bottom. And the white helmet with the white top and orange pants. Although, let me make sure. Go back, pull that picture up again, Mel, with the 12. White helmet, white top. Oh, no, yeah, that's okay. So I just wanted to make sure. So those are the 5 that we haven't worn with the white helmets, right? And then with the orange, the only two combination with the orange helmet that we have not worn is orange helmet with orange top and white pants, and orange helmet, green top, and white pants.
And we haven't had orange helmet, orange top, green bottoms.
Say that again? Correct. Orange helmet, orange top, and green bottom. You're right.
Green bottoms or white with that.
You're right. There's three.
The white helmet with that.
Orange and green. Yep, you're correct. You're correct. So those are the 6. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 7. Those are the 7 combinations that we haven't worn this year. So it'll be interesting to see if we wear those 7 and then go back. A lot of people are asking about a black combination. Where are you with the black helmet, black combinations?
Well, when you look at the Cleveland Browns and you see the Cincinnati Bengals and what they have done with their orange concepts with black, I think it'll be similar to that. Or you see what UM does with their black uniforms. It'll be similar to that. It won't be the same, but it'll be similar. So,
I'm not a fan. I mean, I messed around with Photoshop like 10 years ago and tried to mock up some stuff. And then when we wore the black uniform, I was like, ugh, it just doesn't.
See, but we sucked then. We were not good. We sucked. And
you can't wear black and be bad. Yeah, you can't be bad and wear black. We really
sucked. We really were bad. And then we had the nerve. But we played South Carolina State with the black uniforms, and that was a game that went to overtime. A game that we could have won.
That was dark gray. Are you talking about the one with Stanley?
That was black.
You talking about with Ryan Stanley?
Earl Holmes was the coach.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
During the interim. Right, he was an interim coach at the time.
Yeah. Right? We had the gunmetal. We had the gunmetal gray or the dark gray uniforms, which I don't know. I like those better than the black. When you look at somebody had mentioned in the chat room about the face mask combinations too. I didn't even think about. I mean, are we breaking it down to that level as well when we talk about these combinations?
Well, when you have an equipment manager that knows what they're doing, they line all that stuff up. So I trust who we have behind the scenes to make us look good, to make sure that we are coordinated, make sure that we're coordinated properly so that the bling bling is on there right. And I trust that the people that we have behind the scenes know what they're doing. But we got enough combinations, and I'm happy with them. The uniforms don't win the games. The team does. And so we need our team to be ready, man. I think that obviously we are on the cuspice. That's a Dr. Foster's word. We're on the cuspice of an amazing year, people. I'm here to tell you that the orange and green can obviously go ahead and do some phenomenal things. And I'm looking for the FAMU Rattlers to bring home the SWAC championship all the way to Bragg Memorial Stadium and to the ATL. So Jackson State, go fix those potholes and get your stuff together because the orange and green is going to be ready.
Marcus, before we wrap, big news, some latest commitments for FAMU football just days before the start of the season. Run if you would, run through those 2 or 3 of the latest names that decided to commit to FAMU. One of them we mentioned last week. We weren't sure whether he was a commitment or not. And then one of them came from an in-state school.
Yeah, so last week, I guess near the end of the show, we mentioned Christopher Williams, a transfer from Florida State, from local in Tallahassee, 6'7", 320-pound offensive lineman and played at Rickards. And Marquez Phillips, a wide receiver from D.C., played at Virginia State, Division II. And there was something floating on Instagram last week about committing, but from his official account, earlier this week or late last week. He committed. He's a wide receiver. He's going to add to the Rack Boys. Anthony Jones, running back from out of Lakeland, and actually, to Lakeland. We're noticing an uptick in the Polk County folks coming through. So
Let's
Anthony
go.
Jones, a running back. Yep, running back. Went to Pitt for a few years.
4-star running back.
Yep, 4-star running back. He transferred to James Madison. Doesn't look like he played any, and then he got back in the portal for this year. So we got him at the running back to add to the stable. And recently, just yesterday, Finley Graham, 5'9", 170-pound athlete, also out of Lakeland, committed to us. He left the University of Florida. And there's some articles in terms of his usage down in Florida. He started out as a DB athlete with significant return capability. And so they were going to use him in that capacity. And then earlier this spring, the new coach, Billy Napier, transferred him on the offensive side of the ball. And then I guess over the summer, maybe about a month ago, just over a month, he and two other teammates, I guess there's an NCAA bylaw that allows coaches to make roster changes. And he and two other teammates were basically informed that, they're no longer part of the plan. So he jumped in the portal, he and his other two teammates, and he decided to come with FAMU as of yesterday. So to speak to Kofi's point about being loaded, you look at the roster we have now. I think we're loading up. We've got talent and depth all over the place, just about every position. And so, we're going to fight for the long haul, playing UNC, and then the whole slugfest is going to be the SWAC. So I think last year, I know we had some key people get hurt or get injured or get dinged. And even if you look at the playoff game, in the last couple games, that Jamari Reid looked a little banged up. I think he took a severe hit either in the Florida Classic or the game before. And it seemed like he wasn't the same. So when you take that into effect and you look, we just got Finley Graham, another return person that you can add X-Man to, or any of the other wide receivers. So we got a return game plus the return of our All-American punter, a kicker that who filled in for him after Fedor went down with a knee injury. So we got depth at special teams. You look at the offensive line. We've been bringing in a lot of offensive linemen, having people come in to add to the depth and quality. Wide receivers, the same thing. So we're going to have pieces that are going to be able to mix and match and not have any drop off in talent. And so I think, like Kobe said, we're really deep. We're really loaded. And I think just going through the SWAC again and seeing everybody load up with transfers, but also knowing how tough it is that Coach Simmons has built up the team to be able to minimize any drop off due to injury during the course of the season.
Coming up in the upcoming shows, we're going to do some real breakdowns of not only the non-conference season is very important for the SWAC. One of the things that I hear, Coach Prime talk about, and I mention him because we all seem to listen, and it carries a lot of weight when he talks. He talks about being able to compete against the best and have success against them. Well, it's great that, we can't just be satisfied with what we do in the SWAC. We have to perform. So as we watch all of these programs and these transfers, rebuilt rosters with transfers, what they do, how the coaching responds and prepares for these non-conference games in the first 3 weeks of the season, I think we'll say loads. The history has not been great for the SWAC. So, if you were a betting man, you would probably bet against the SWAC in probably most of these non-conference games. But hopefully they will surprise. And so we'll kind of take a look at some of the non-conference matchups. Not only, obviously, we're aware of FAMU's, but we'll just kind of look at the other teams as well. We're going to start to break down North Carolina as well. We're going to give you guys a look into what North Carolina has coming back, what we can expect from North Carolina. So, there's plenty of games and film to watch. Obviously, we do know one thing. They'll have a new signal caller this year. So that's probably the biggest thing for North Carolina. But there's more to them than just that signal caller. And so we'll get a chance to kind of dig deep. And I think as we start to look at position breakdowns, guys, let's start in the interior. We can go and talk about the rat boys and the quarterback and the DBs, but let's talk next week. Let's dig deep into the trenches, the O-line and the D-line. That's where championships are going to be won, and especially if we're going to have any kind of success and hold our own in week 0 against North Carolina, it's going to be in the trenches. So let's start there as we start to break down our position groups. We'll obviously, by the time we come on, I think, let's see, FAMU has a 5-day period where they'll go through working out without full contact. So there's about a 5-day period. I don't know if they're practicing Sunday or not. So essentially, we're talking Friday, Saturday. Worst case, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If they do something on Sunday, then that means the first day for live contact will be Wednesday next week. So by our show next week, we'll hopefully have some sort of indication of a few things, and we'll try to bring you guys some info on that. So that's going to do it. Wrap up this show. And I know upcoming volleyball will be starting up. We'll try to dig deep and see what the non-conference schedule hasn't been released yet for volleyball. I'm hopeful that over the course of the next few days it will, and we'll get a chance to see what the SWAC champions, our Lady Rattlers, will be looking like as they will begin camp, I believe, next week, first day or first week of August. So their camp will be coming up soon. We're trying to do some things and see if we can create some opportunities and do some live stuff in Tallahassee there with them. So, Kofi, you've been obviously lots to say today. Real quick, you have a final word before we get out of here?
No, the season's here now, buddy. I'm like a kid getting ready for Christmas in July and August and everything. It's hot as the dickens. I'm excited. It's here. Football camp begins tomorrow. Band camp begins within the next week or so. It's here. So let's get this going.
All right, Marcus. Any words before we close out as we wrap up the show?
I'm excited. I just can't wait to see how things are going to look. I mean, the expectations are high. Coach Simmons has already said it multiple times, and it's already shown in the preseason rankings. So we just have to see where the rubber meets the road. But I think we're ready for it.
All right. Yep. Expect greatness. Do more with more. And let's hold our leaders accountable. Let's ask the questions why. So that's my charge to all of you. Let's ask the questions why. Why not? Why isn't this being done? Let's ask. We won't get any answers if we don't ask. Let's hold them accountable. Would like to thank again Dr. Lori Wilson and Mike Reid, Mike RoadDog Reid, for joining us in our Alumni Spotlight segment. If you have an alum with a business that you think we ought to spotlight as well, send us an email, ongstrikezone@gmail.com. Let us know. Send a recommendation. We'd love to hear from you. Our show will be on the BCSN Pod Zone in podcast format. You can find the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen and download podcasts, Google, Spotify, Apple, iHeart. It's all there. Just search BCSN Pod Zone. You'll find our show. And as always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. And the replays will be alive and available on Twitter. Hopefully, Kelvin Rozier will be feeling better, and he'll be back next week. We hope our brother gets well, stays safe. Thank you to our producer, Melody Lucas. And for Rattler Nation, you guys be smart, stay safe. Don't forget to strike, and strike again, Rattler Nation. Be good. Peace out.
Thank you.